Growing up, my house always felt incomplete, not in terms of physical space, but like a phantom limb, a memory of a room that wasn't there. I chalked it up to a kid's imagination, you know? Picturing hidden doorways behind bookshelves, secret passages in the walls. We all do that, right? But as I got older, I started to realize it wasn't just my imagination. The room was real, it just wasn't always there. It only ever appears when I'm completely alone. The first hints weren't visual. It was a feeling, a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The house would seem to expand. The familiar hallway would feel just a little bit longer. The air would get heavier, almost like you could feel its texture. The silence wasn't just an absence of noise. It was a presence, thick and palpable. Then, one afternoon, it happened. I was walking from the kitchen into the main hallway, a path I'd taken thousands of times. But this time, there it was. A door. It looked perfectly ordinary. Same dark wood as the others, same brass handle, same white trim. It was so unremarkable that it was shocking, because I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that this door was not supposed to be there. I just froze. My heart hammered against my ribs. But the longer I stared at it, a strange sense of familiarity washed over me. It felt like the door had always been there, and I was the one who had forgotten. Like I was looking at a memory I couldn't quite place. It was disorienting, like my own mind was playing tricks on me. I didn't open it that first time. I couldn't. I just slowly backed away, my eyes locked on the handle. I held my breath, listening. A few minutes later, I heard the sound of my mom's car pulling into the driveway. The crunch of gravel, the slam of a car door. The moment her footsteps echoed on the porch, I glanced back at the hallway. The door was gone, and I don't mean it was just closed or hidden. The wall was smooth, continuous, exactly as it had always been. It was as if the door had been erased from reality. My mind reeled. Had I imagined it? Was I that stressed out? I tried to push it aside, to convince myself it was a waking dream. Days turned into weeks. I tried to live my life, to ignore the incident. I started avoiding being alone in the house, making sure someone was always around. But you can't avoid solitude forever. And every single time I found myself alone, every time the house settled into that deep, heavy quiet, the door would return, always in the same spot, always looking like it belonged, always waiting. The curiosity became a physical ache, a constant, nagging question mark in my mind. What was behind it? Why was it there? Why only for me? The fear was still there, but it was being slowly consumed by an overwhelming need to know. So, one rainy Tuesday, I found myself standing before it again. The house was empty. The world outside was a gray wash of rain against the windows. The silence inside was absolute. This time, I didn't hesitate. My hand felt strangely steady as I reached out, my fingers wrapping around the cool, smooth brass of the handle. I turned it. The latch gave a soft, oiled click. I pushed the door open. The room inside was nothing. It was completely empty. No furniture, no windows, no decorations on the bare walls. The air was unnaturally still, so motionless it felt like the room itself was holding its breath. There was no scent, no dust motes dancing in the light. There was no light. But somehow, I could see everything perfectly. Hesitantly, I took a step inside, and the instant my second foot crossed the threshold, I felt it, a presence, right behind me. It wasn't a sound, it wasn't a touch, it wasn't even the feeling of being watched. It was more fundamental than that. It was the undeniable certainty of another being occupying the same space, so close I could almost feel a warmth that wasn't there. My entire body went rigid. I knew if I reached back, my hand would meet empty air, but the feeling was as real as the floor beneath my feet. Slowly, ever so slowly, with my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest, I turned around. The doorway was gone. There was no way out. Just 4 blank walls, a ceiling, a floor, and me, and the thing I could feel but couldn't see. Panic tried to claw its way up my throat, but it couldn't find purchase. Something about the room, about the presence, was calm. I didn't scream. I didn't run into the walls. I just stood there, in the center of the impossible room, feeling the space around me hum with an energy I couldn't comprehend. I have no idea how long I was in there. Time seemed to stretch and compress, losing all meaning. It could have been seconds or hours, but eventually I blinked. Just a normal, simple blink. And I was back in my hallway. The door was closed behind me, solid and real. My hand was still tingling from the memory of the doorknob. I stumbled back, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I stared at the door, at this thing that had haunted the edges of my perception for so long. But I didn't open it again. I didn't need to, because I understand what the room is now. It's not a place, it's a mirror. A space that only manifests when you are completely, utterly alone, so it can show you what you've been carrying with you the entire time. And now, whenever I am alone, truly alone, I still feel it. That quiet presence, standing just over my shoulder, just out of sight. It's not menacing. It's not trying to harm me. It's just there, a constant companion, a silent watcher, waiting, just making sure I never forget that I was never really alone to begin with. Thanks for listening to my story. If you have any strange experiences of your own, I'd love to read about them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more. I'll see you in the next one.